I want your views on this one as well, because I reckon this is a very Melbourne thing. Is it a Melbourne thing? I don't know if they do. Well, they probably do it in Sydney as well, but I don't know if it's as common in other states around the place. It's people asking, where did you go to high school? So jump on the line, 133693. Did you go to a private school? Did you go to a public high school? Is it better? Is it worse? Do you think your education benefited because you went to a private school? Or was it just an opportunity maybe for your parents to say that you went to a private school? 133693 is the number. And I don't say that with tongue fully in cheek, because I know that there are, the area that I live in, there's a lot of private schools around there. I never went to a private school. My wife never went to a private school. But we're always amazed when people say, we're Xavier parents, or we're Trinity parents, or something like that. Not all students' parents do that, but there seems to be this sort of like class system whereby you can say you went to a private school. But does it really matter? At the end of the day, does it really matter? I know there's plenty of government schools who have terrific results, and their students go on to greatness, whether it be at university or private enterprise. The Age has got an interesting article this morning revealing whether our MPs went to public or private schools. The results, private school graduates were overrepresented in the nation's parliament, with data revealing that more than half of independent and coalition MPs attended non-government schools. However, half of Labor MPs went to public schools, which shouldn't surprise us, really, considering what they stand for. Joining us on the line now is Sue Nelson, career development practitioner. Hello, Sue.
Hi, TJ.
Well, does it really matter whether you go to a private school or a government school?
Well, it depends on the career path you want to follow in some respects, but I would say it's not just what school you went to, but what you did after school. We know that a lot of people may or may not go to university, they may or may not continue with learning, and one of the things I will say about independent and non-government schools is that a lot of parents assume that they will get a better education for their child, and there'll be a better teacher to student ratio and more facilities and those sorts of things. So a lot of parents would be like that. But yes, some people still say, what school did you go to? And I remember, I'm originally from Adelaide and went to a public school, but I remember hearing that several years ago, if you wanted to get into a law firm, you had to go to a particular private school to be able to get a job in a law firm. I don't know whether that still exists, but that was definitely a rumour I heard back in the day.
Because, it's interesting, Sue, and sorry, I've mispronounced your surname there at the start, which is Elson as opposed to Nelson. I'm sorry about that. But you can tell I didn't have great schooling. So I never went to university as well, but that's beside the point. But my point here is that when you say that, it all depends what career path you want to go down, well, how do you know? Like in grade 6, how do you know what you... I mean, I always knew that I wanted to work in the field that I'm working in now, but I was one of the lucky ones, is that I was able to pursue that passion. But how do you know in year 7? Or grade 6, what you're going to do? And how do you know, as a parent, you'd love the child to sign a document of some sort guaranteeing, hey, listen, you're going to fork out all this money and it is going to be worth your while.
Yes, yeah. Look, it's difficult. I know a person who was 3 when they said they wanted to work in telecommunications, and that's what they did, and worked for Telstra all their life. So it is horses for courses. Some people know, some people don't. For me personally, I did work experience in radiography and ended up in banking and stayed there 11 years because I realised radiography was walking into a room, laying out a patient, pressing a button, walking out, going back in. It just wasn't for me. So working out what you want to do, you can definitely get help from a career development practitioner, and they can help you. And if you get that through your schooling years and fairly early, it can definitely help you identify your natural skills. But for me, I've actually ended up learning additional skills, and they're what I've really enjoyed in my career. And my career has gone on many different paths. And because of the changes in technology, most of us are going to have multiple careers in our lifetime going forward. But what school is about is teaching us how to learn, and those skills you can transfer, basically into almost any discipline as you go along, and you'll probably find a lot of the things that work for you. But I think that we can't necessarily predict, but we can definitely get help from people like career development practitioners to guide us on, well, have you considered this? Have you tried that? a lot of us automatically by osmosis learn skills from our parents and follow in those paths. So for a lot of those politicians, they may have a family of politicians behind them, and that could have led them on that career path as well.
Yeah, well, career path is one thing, but it's whether it's advantageous to actually go to a private school as opposed to a non-private school. And I don't know whether there's data to suggest that those who do go to private schools actually make more of a fist out of their chosen vocation than those who didn't go.
Yeah, I don't know whether there is data on that. I do know that there was a bit of a joke that people who didn't do well in private schools as educationally well would end up as real estate agents. So I don't know whether, because they'd got accustomed to the lifestyle of private schools. So I don't know the specific data, but I think ultimately we all need to take personal responsibility for our ability to learn and acquire skills. And I'm sure in your journalistic and presenting career, you've acquired many additional skills, you've taught other people, you've mentored other people, you've really dedicated yourself to it. So it's not just, in my mind, about an academic qualification, it's those skills, knowledge and networks that you build up along the way, and that whole picture is definitely what's going to help you in your career rather than just an education from a university or a school. It's really your commitment to your personal growth and personal development.
Yeah, it's certainly something you've got to sit down and discuss as a family, don't you, sort of which path you're going to go down. Always good to talk to you, Sue. Thank you.
Thanks, TJ.
Thank you. Sue Elson joining us there, career development practitioner. Well.